Hello everyone, we are the graduate advising team. I know you guys are super excited to graduate, okay, and so am I. But what we're going to help you is there's actually so many things you do need to know before you go into the business world. And one of them is public speaking. And we want you to be the best presenters you can, and the best leaders, because there's going to be people coming behind you, and there's people above you that look up to you, no matter what their position is. So it's actually election year, all right? Now from this picture, you can go ahead and raise your hand and tell me what you think. What comes to your mind when you see that picture?
Ignorant.
Ignorant? Why do you say ignorant?
Because I think that there's other ways to go about the problem than just focusing on one issue that's causing so much hate and problems within the country and other countries.
Excellent. And what about as a leader? How do you view him? No thoughts? Okay, no problem.
He's to the point, I guess.
He's to the point, he's blunt, very straightforward.
A weird diet.
A weird diet.
So with the wall there, it appears to me that maybe he doesn't want to take any feedback from outsiders.
Oh, that's an interesting way to look at it. Okay.
Unpredictable. Can't really know like what's gonna happen.
Unpredictable. Good observation. Well said. Now let's take it turn to another one. How about this? She's very
More
political.
longer.
Okay.
Benghazi. Traitor.
Traitor. Okay, so as you can tell from both of these pictures, they display, they're very biased in some ways, but yet they kind of tell us different things. But one thing this does do, no matter in all the videos and presentations they've given, is it grabs your attention. They always say something that is very offensive, is very one-way-sided, but it does grab your attention. That's one important thing we want to actually get into your head today, is it's really important to grab your attention, no matter which side you're on. So now we're going to go over to Jeffrey, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what we're going to go over today.
Well, actually, before I introduce the outline of the leader script, I would like to share one of my experiences as a student at the University of Texas at Dallas. When I was enrolled in Accounting 3100, which is the professional development course, it is required that students to attend at least one of the career workshops at the Jindal School of Management. I decided to attend the JSOM Interview Strategies workshop, and this workshop was led by Mrs. Sherry Cook, which is one of the career advisors within the Career Management Center. This particular workshop addressed various topics such as how to dress appropriately for interviews, attain salary negotiation skills, and how to properly research a potential employer before the interview date. But the most important topic that I can vividly remember during this workshop was the STAR acronym. And this stood for Situation, Task, Action, and Results. Ms. Sherry Cook stated that this acronym is used to help people format their responses when they're responding to open-ended interview questions, such as, would you please describe a situation in which you found a creative way to overcome an obstacle? Well, when I recently discovered and read about the leader script, I found the leader script to be very similar to the STAR acronym. However, I quickly realized that the STAR acronym was limited in scope because it is confined to the interview scenario. In comparison, the leader script is much bigger in both purpose and scope because the leader script exists as a template that helps any person to format their messages in a manner that will inspire, lead, and influence others. And the leader script can actually be utilized in a variety of situations. So during this presentation, we'll go into more in depth regarding the three main components of the leader script, which consists of the introduction, the body, and the conclusion, and the various components that are actually in the introduction and the conclusion. So we will also mention a few things that people should avoid when utilizing the leader script, and we'll attempt to show you just a sample of situations that display just how versatile the leader script can be. As we move forward through the presentation, I request all members of the audience to keep in the back of their mind the very important role that the message plays within the leader script. So I have a feeling that all of you are ready to learn how to become more effective communicators that consistently lead others. So without any further delay, I'll go back to Austin, who will address the introduction component of the leader script.
Thank you, Jeffrey. So in the intro, it consists of those three things. Grab your attention. there's two different types of ways you can grab their attention. Personal, it refers more to the things that relate to you and I. So we're all students, so I can relate to you on that end. Maybe we have similar experiences. Also, there's more things I can say, words like I, we. Words saying things like those will get your attention, make you feel involved, like I'm talking to you. Another word. And then also literary. Literary can kind of do a lot of different things. So I can put some type of research on the screen to show you, hey, this actually is proven. I could put a statistical number and you're like, what's a number mean? It gets your attention as well. I can use a poem, I can use all different kinds of things. Those are more literary. And then also, in the intro, you want to make your statement of your subject in a single sentence. For example, if you're talking to someone, you're like, I want to make this type of recommendation to your company, and make it in one sentence. It's very similar to your vision or your mission statement for a company. And then you declare your message or your argument, and you say why you think that should be done. It can be done in some type of long presentation format, or it can be just a simple conversation over a few seconds in the elevator. And then you present your structural statement by saying, this is what I want at the end, or this is what I want out of it. And then we're going to go over to Brian, and go over the body and how important that is.
Now we have LeaderScript. We gave you a grabber. Grabber is very important for your introduction. The body is the second component of LeaderScript. This is where, after you've already have made a main point in the body of your LeaderScript, you're going to argue all the elements you need to make your main message you're trying to convey be something that the audience actually perceives as true. There are many ways to go about this. I'm going to discuss 5 different approaches to arguing in a good body, how to get across your message. The first approach is the research approach. This is actually the most common approach in presenting an argument. It's basically a story-driven approach, where I present to you in a story a personal interaction that I argue with for my main point. And we've done this in many times, previous speech with the ums. I can give you a lot of Navy jargon because I was in the military, and I can relate most of my military stories to any kind of argument or situation. This makes me build credibility with my audience and argues my points across effectively. Second approach is the Ways approach. In the Ways approach to arguing your main points, this is where you develop many theories on how something can be true. So you go home and you're talking to your apartment about your door being busted. And they say your dog chewed the door down. And you're like, no, my dog did not do that. My dog's well behaved. So I'm going to give them alternative stories. I'm going to say raccoons did that. Any other creature on the planet did that. My dog did not do that. In the Ways approach, you're going to show how many ways can be true so that one thing is not exactly true. The situation and response approach. In this approach to arguing your main point, you're going to present a situation and then give a response to how to resolve that situation. Such as, oh no, we have an assignment that's due on Friday, and you thought you had 3 weeks to complete it, but you've just now been told it's Friday, and you have a 10-man team to complete this task. You're going to have to get a hold of your task, or get a hold of your group, set up a meeting time, make an alert message. You're stuck in this situation, and the best way to do it is to find ways to resolve it. When you're in a speech, you're going to give your audience methods in which to improve that situation, and thus argue your main point. Then there's a past and present approach. This is when you are present and present and future approach. It's where you take present events and compare them to future interactions. I tell you something that I did in the past, and then I say what's going on now, and I give a solid representation of what it might be projected in the future. You can do this in corporate world by basically projections. When you're doing financial analyzing and you're seeing what can you spend next year, you're projecting into the future what you think will happen, and you're giving a future theory based on facts that will argue your main point in a message. the last approach is the chronological approach. This is where you do a chronological chain of events in your speech. If you were the valedictorian at your high school and you're giving the speech on how you became valedictorian, and you want to do this in a chronological way, you would probably speak about what you did in your freshman year that led to you being so great, and then you would lead into your sophomore year, then your junior year, and followed by your senior year. In this event, you provide chronological chain of events that support your actions on how you became valedictorian, and that would be your body.
Okay, so for the conclusion, when you're concluding a presentation, it's always important to come back to your message at the beginning of your conclusion. So the importance of doing that is just to make sure that, as you're closing your presentation, you kind of leave the audience with the key points that you want them to take away from it. And so when you do present something in an effective way, like we've been talking about, you kind of, by the end of the presentation, you should have the audience on your side. So by the end of the presentation, the audience should embody what you're trying to present, you're trying to get them to represent. So at the end of the presentation, you can say things such as, so you can see why and relate it back to your message, or you can say something like, let me emphasize and relate it back to your message, so they can kind of embody it and walk away with something that's theirs. So when you restate your message, it's important to restate your message, like I was saying, at the end, in order to bring your audience back to the central idea that you're trying to make them take away with, because now their message is for them to walk on and tell other people and to call to action. So call to action is the final element of the conclusion, and when you're calling to action, you kind of want to list the steps that you want them to take, so after the presentation, they know what to do in order to implement what you've been said. Okay, so avoid the following. So these are 4 steps that you want to avoid when you're giving a presentation, and the first one is the vague we. So using the word we, a lot of people might not understand what we is, so it's really key kind of to eliminate it and just talk about the subject at hand instead of saying we, just to kind of give everybody a clear understanding. The second topic that you want to avoid is using too many topics. If you talk about 10 different things, it's kind of going to be harder for the audience to stay focused. So it's important that if you just follow maybe 1 or 2 or 3 things that you want them to stick and follow afterwards, just narrow it down a little bit. The third thing you want to avoid is rambling. The key thing about rambling, other than it's very annoying, is that it will lose the audience focus completely. And from then, nobody will walk away with anything important that needs to be taken away. And the final thing is to avoid the word you in a confrontation. So if I'm disagreeing with someone and someone disagreeing with me, and they say, you're wrong, the conversation is pretty much over, because that person is going to take that totally offensive, and then nothing's going to be resolved. So it's important to kind of eliminate that and say it in a way that's going to end the conversation in like something helpful, something peace resolving, so y'all can move forward.
And there's lots of situations this could be done. So let's say, for example, you're playing golf. I know we all love golf, going out in the sun and taking a nice hit, and you see it actually go where you want it to go. But then you're actually there for business as well. It's actually a good place to have conversations because you're walking with people, mostly, hopefully you're riding. But there's a lot of good things, small talk, you can be able to talk to them and actually make yourself known. You get their attention saying, hey, that was a nice swing or this or that, and I'd like to see you work in the business field. Get their attention, make a statement. Make sure that you are getting their attention at a point that, we can actually move forward in this instead of just playing golf for the day. Let's say for another situation, you're on a flight. And you know that everyone always puts their headphones on and goes in the corner and doesn't want to talk to you. It could be a long ride, or you could fall asleep and wake up. But then, like I said, you can use this leadership in any situation, whether it's a short conversation or a long one, no matter where everyone is. Another situation you look at is talking on the phone. Whenever you're doing interviews, it's very important that you practice beforehand over the phone. It's a very common thing for us. And it would be good to make sure you have your grabber a sentence saying, what is your strength? And you're like, you know what, this is my strength. And this is what I can do to make it better, and this is why I'm a good candidate for you. So there's lots of ways you can relate this leadership to yourself and make different situations for your job. Also another one, it could be just waiting for the bus. I know it's a lot better when you have a car, but there's a lot of people I see waiting at the bus when I drive by and no one talks to one another at all. Maybe because you might be scared or know someone else. I'm just saying there's opportunities out there. And you just gotta make that part and make the effort to get their attention. It doesn't have to be anything big, but it can be very effective. You be as a leader and get some good practice, and then when you're up here, it won't be as scary, you won't be as nervous. And one thing to remember, Jeff is gonna go over what we talked about tonight.
So we went through quite a bit of material in a relatively short amount of time over the leader script. But if there's one thing all of us at the graduate advising team want you to remember from this presentation is the fact that the message is the heart of the leader script. During the course of our presentation, the message played a key role during the introduction, body, and conclusion. In the introduction, the message is stated briefly in one sentence to serve as a platform that introduces the speaker's argument. Within the body, the message truly takes the center stage and is brought to life when the speaker presents the various points of the message in a structured and logical fashion, which strengthens the credibility of the speaker's message. The message is then restated within the conclusion to leave the audience with a lasting impression of the speaker's message. Now it is probably clear to all of you how the message plays a cohesive and important role throughout the leader script. And a paramount point that all of you may realize by now is the fact that the leader script is essentially dead without a strong message. Virtually any situation that you go through in life is an opportunity for you to shine as an influential leader. In the past, your messages may have ended up falling short to inspire others to act in the way you intended. However, all of us here in the graduate advising team strongly believe that you will flourish in the pursuit of becoming a leader if you take the initiative to consistently convey your messages through the template of the leader script. And we truly hope that all of you do. Mariah, Austin, Brian, and I thank you for giving us this opportunity to deliver this presentation to you. And we have a short quiz that I request all of you to take. And thank you so much for your time.